What is up, YouTube? This is your favorite YouTuber coming back to you, Coach Carr, bringing you another video. This one is again for your midterm review. This one goes through pages 9 through 11. So I hope you enjoy. All right, young bucks, what we're looking at right now is page 9, number 22. What it says is, could the length 6, 8, and 10 represent the sides of a triangle? Show why or why not. So the rule that you need to know is that two sides added up inside a triangle have to be greater than the last side. So to save yourself time and effort, the best thing to do is to add the two smallest sides together. So I'm going to have 6 plus 8, and that has to be greater than 10 in order to be a triangle. So 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 is greater than 10. So yes, this is a triangle. All right, so now we're looking at number 23. This one says, could the length 6, 8, and 15 represent the sides of a triangle? So we're going to use the exact same logic that we did before, and we're going to do 6 plus 8, and those numbers are going to have to be greater than 15 in order to be a triangle. So 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 is not greater than 15, so no, it is not a triangle. Okay, so the next problem we're looking at, it says, if two sides of a triangle are 4 and 8, give a range of values for the third side of a triangle. So for a question like this, what they're looking for is an inequality. So what I'm going to do is subtract the two numbers first. So 8 minus 4, that'll get me 4. And then I also want to add the numbers together. So 8 plus 4 gives me 12. So the answer I'm going to have, I need to make it as an inequality. So I'm going to have 4 less than x less than 12. So what this means is that the third side would have to be bigger than 4, but less than 12. So number 25 says, Perth, Darwin, and Sydney are 3 cities in Australia. Which 2 of the cities are furthest apart? So the thing that we need to know is they made it into a triangle. And something that hopefully you know is that across from the largest angle is going to be your largest side. Across from the smallest angle is going to be your smallest side. So if I'm trying to find the furthest apart, what I'm going to do is try to find my longest side. So my biggest angle is here where Darwin is, and that's 81. Well, across from that is going to be my biggest side. So the cities that are furthest apart from each other would be Perth and Sydney. So Perth and Sydney. All right, so the last problem on page 9 says, if x represents the possible distance between the flock of migrating geese created by angle FGH, what is the range of possible distance between F and H? So they gave us a distance from F to G. They gave us a distance from H to G as well. So you have two sides of a triangle. You're trying to find the possible third side. So this is just like number 24. So we're going to end up with an inequality. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract the two numbers, 13 minus 12. Notice I did 13 minus 12 instead of 12 minus 13 because I want a positive number. There cannot be a negative side length for a triangle. So, well, 13 minus 12 is 1. Then I want to also add them together. So 13 plus 12, and that equals 25. So I am going to have an inequality or a range of 1 less than x less than 25. So this side length has to be a number in between 1 and 25. All right, so now we're on page 10. We have hit the double digits, and it's saying use the Hinge theorem and explain the relationship between the different angles in the figure below. So in order to use Hinge theorem, you have to have at least two sides congruent. Well, we do have that, and we can tell that by these markings that we have in here. So we have two sides congruent between the triangles, and then we have an angle in each. So we're going to be able to find which one has the longer length, the longer last side, based on those angles. So when we look at this, I notice that 82 is greater than 63. So 82 is a bigger number than 63. So this lets me know that across from it's going to be the bigger side. So DF is greater than AC. All right, so we're looking at number 28. It's wanting us to fill in the chart for each of the triangles. So for this one, what we're dealing with is points of concurrency. So the first thing they want us to do is name the point of concurrency. So the first one, I'm noticing these lines inside of here. There's no markings on the sides, but what I do see is the lines forming right angles. So this one is an orthocenter. And with an orthocenter, they're formed by these lines that have right angles called altitudes. And special properties, there's not really any special properties that we need to know for orthocenter. The main thing is just knowing that it has altitudes, and altitudes have to have a right angle. The next one, what I'm noticing is these lines are cutting each of the sides in half. So this one is a centroid, and the lines that are cutting each of these sides in half would be called medians. Now, this one, the special property is that the medians have a ratio of 2 to 1. So that's the main thing I would want you to know about centroids and medians, is that when it gets broken up, it's getting broken up into a ratio of 2 to 1. So if I were looking at this line here, this part is 2 times bigger than that part. So there's 3 parts total, 2 parts, 1 part. The next one, I'm noticing markings at each of the angles. It's cutting each angle in half. So first of all, it's called an incenter. It's created by angle bisectors. And its special property is it's equidistant to all sides. So this point would be the same distance to every single one of these sides. So that's its special property I would want you to know. Then the last one, you notice that you have lines that create right angles, and it cuts the sides in half. So it is a circumcenter, and these 90-degree angles tell me it's perpendicular, and the sides got cut in half, so perpendicular bisectors. And the special property for it is that it's equidistant to the angles or the vertices. All right, so now last question on page 10 is number 29, and it says in the diagram, C is the circumcenter of the triangle XYZ. Find the value of X, then find length CZ. Show all your work. If you actually remember, this was one of our test questions. Now, in here, you have this triangle, and I'm told that you're dealing with the circumcenter. So there's two main things that I said we needed to know about circumcenter earlier. And one is that it's created by perpendicular bisectors. So created by perpendicular bisectors. That's one thing that we should know about circumcenter. The other is that it's equidistant to the angles. So we just have to figure out which fact we need to use in order to solve this. So if I'm looking at this, C is the circumcenter, and the only two lines that have equations to it is from C to Z and C to X. Well, if I'm looking at that, those are lines going directly to the angles. So the thing that's going to help me the most is the one that's saying it's equidistant to the angle. So if they're equidistant, that means they are equal. So you are dealing with 2x plus 15 should be equal to 3x plus 10 because they are equidistant to each other. So next step, I'm going to try to save some room. So what I'm going to do is subtract 2x from both sides. And I'm also going to subtract 10 from both sides. So that'll cancel the 2x on this side, and it'll cancel out the 10 on this side. So now I'm left with 5 equals x. So my x is equal to 5. Now, they told me they wanted me to solve for CZ. If I'm trying to do that, and now I know what x equals, well, the next step would be to substitute it back into it. So CZ had an equation of 3x plus 10. Well, instead of x, I'm going to put 5, so 3 times 5 plus 10. 15 plus 10 equals 25. So CZ has a length of 25, and they didn't say any specific unit, so I'm just going to leave my answer like that. All right, so now we're on page 11, number 30. It says, given that S is the incenter of the triangle MNP, find the measure of angle MPN. Show all your work. So the key word in here is incenter. And with incenter, there's a couple things we know. One is that it's made or created by angle bisectors. That is one thing we know. The other is that it's equidistant from the sides. So one of these is bound to help us with this. Well, we're trying to find an angle, so chances are the angle bisector is what's going to help us. So I'm going to end up trying to solve for for angle MPN. MPN. That's the full angle here. So first I want to do is look around and see what other information I have. Well, I know that it's supposed to be made by angle bisectors. So if I am told this part is 28, that means this side is also 28. Now for angle M, if this side's 31, this side is also 31. Now notice here you have a 10 and an 8. Neither one of those has a degree symbol. So they are distractors. I don't care about those. So I just went ahead and crossed them out. What I care about is these angles because I'm trying to find an angle. So now that I know what the full angles are going to be, I'm going to be able to find this based on triangle sum. Triangle sum says all angles inside a triangle have to add up to 180. So if I took this one here, I would have 28 plus 28, because that's the full angle N, plus 31 plus 31, because that's the full angle M, plus what I'm trying to find, I'm going to make it X because I don't know what it is yet, all have to equal 180. So 28 and 28, that gets me 56. 31 plus 31 is 62. Plus X equals 180. Combine these and I'm going to get 118 plus X equals 180. Subtract 118 from both sides. And I'm going to get X equals 62. So angle MPN would be 62 degrees. All right, home skillets. Number 31 is saying in triangle RST, RU is an altitude. Find Y if the measure of angle RUS is equal to 7Y plus 27. So first things first, you need to know what an altitude is. Altitude is going to be a line that goes through the vertex, going to form a right angle. So RU is an altitude, so RU is going to have a right angle. Now, they say RUS is equal to 7y plus 27. So RUS is a right angle, and a right angle equals 90 degrees. So you have 90 equals 7y plus 27. Next step would be to subtract 27 from both sides. That's so it cancels out over here. And now you have 63 equals 7y. Well, I want to get y by itself. So I'm going to divide each side by 7. And you get y equals 9. So in this case, y equals 9. Okay, so now number 32. It says Gretel is creating a logo for her company. She started her design as shown below. You have the line segments I, R, U, S, and OB are all medians of the triangle BRS, and T is the centroid. So IR is 12 inches, BT is 6 inches, and UT is 1 inch. Find the following lengths. So few things to note. It says you're dealing with medians. So if you have medians, you're going to be dealing with a ratio of 2 to 1. So that's something to know. And then you have centroid, and what we know is centroids are created by medians, which they said earlier. So Something I actually like to do when I'm doing a problem like this is when I'm dealing with these ratios, I like to actually draw these lines outside of the triangle to make it a little bit neater. So let's say I'm going to do with the line IR first. So I'm going to draw 2 points. So I made a line segment. Now I'm going to label it as I and R. Now you're dealing with a ratio of 2 to 1. So that means it has a total of 3 equal parts. So I broke it up into 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I got to figure out where T, my centroid, is going to go. So I'm going to look at what it's closer to. T is closer to the I. So I'm going to put my T at this one here. Now, what I was told in here is that the full length IR is 12 inches. So the full thing is 12 inches. But this is broken up into 3 equal parts. So what I would do is 12 divided by 3. So that would let me know that each section would be equal to 4. So R to T would be 8 inches. TI, not the wrapper, is going to be a total of 4 inches. So that's the idea with problems like this. I like to draw them out. So next one I'm going to do is, let's do the line BO, not our body odor. The line segment BO. Now, again, it's a median, so it's broken up into 3 equal parts. Now, TO, the T is closer to the O, so I'm going to put that here. So TO, just like the second best wide receiver ever. You have, what I was told up here is that from B to T, that is 6 inches. So that's 2 out of the 3 parts. So what I'm going to do is take my 6, divide it by 2. So this part would be 3 inches. That part would be 3 inches. And since all of them are equal, this one too is 3 inches. So if I want to know the full length from O to B, I would do 3, 6, 9. So it is 9 inches. Now, the last one we're going to do, you have the line segment US. USA. USA. So US. So remember, it is broken up into 3 equal parts. The U is, or the T is closer to the U. So I'm going to put that here. I'm told that UT, this length here, is 1 inch. So if this portion is 1 inch, so is this portion, and so is that portion. So if I want the full length of the US, that would be 3 freedom inches. All right, so we are on the last page, or last number on this page. It's saying point G is the centroid of ABC. And AD is equal to 8, AG is equal to 10, and CD is equal to 18. So a few things to know: if you're dealing with a centroid, you're dealing with medians. So the lines on the inside are going to still have that ratio of 2 to 1. And another thing I know is the sides all get cut in half if you're dealing with the median. Median is in the middle. So these are cut in half. These ones would be cut in half. And so would these sides. So if we went through this, BD, well, I said this portion is supposed to go with this portion. So if I know AD is 8, then I know BD is 8. Then the next one you have, AB, well, if I know this portion is 8, this one's 8, then the full length is 16. The next one they have for me is from E to G. So that's one of the lines on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I like to redraw it outside. So I have the line, so I have A, E. Remember, it's supposed to be broken up into 3 equal parts. So the G, the centroid, is closer to the E, so that's where I'm going to put it. They said from A to G is 10. So there's 2 parts in there. So that means if it's broken up evenly, this part's 5, this part's 5, and so would this part. So from E to G, you'd be dealing with 5. Now the one up here says AE. So from A to E, we're going 5, 10, 15. So the full length of that line would be 15. Now, this one here says from C to G. Well, earlier they told me what the full length of C to D is, so I'm going to draw that real quick. Coach Carr, the artiste. So we have the line segment DC. Again, this one's also broken up into 3 equal parts. So the G is closer to the D, so I want to make sure that that's how I draw it. I was told the full length from C to D is 18. There's 3 equal parts, so 18 divided by 3 would be 6. So if you have CG, C to G, I would have 6, 12. So from C to G, you're dealing with 12. From D to G, you're dealing with 6. So the main things to know, on the outsides, the sides are cut in half. On the insides, when you're dealing with a centroid, the medians have a ratio of 2 to 1. That does it for another video. Thank you so much for watching. More videos to come. Smash that like button. Turn on the notifications. Buy my merch. You know the drill. Have a good rest of the day.